#1.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard. All right, it's time to classy up this joint. Because, look, Hans is out. And even when Hans is here, we're not the best-looking show out there. But we bring in Sly, and the place immediately gets a little bit better reputation. Sly Sylvester joining us. Steven, how are you, man?
Oh, you're giving me too much credit, man. I appreciate it, though. If you ask my wife, I'm ugly as heck, so, I'm good.
All wives think their husbands are ugly. That's just how it goes, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Somewhere at one point, Angelina Jolie's looking at Brad Pitt like, you are ugly, man.
Ugly, right?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, by the way?
I'm doing great, man. I actually just traveled to Vegas today. I'm gonna hang with fam this week for a little bit and kind of get a little bit of time off before heading back to Utah. What
draft day memories do you have? What's that day like for you when you kind of revisit what that was like as a former player?
Man, it just anxiety.
Yeah.
Draft day was insane. Draft week was insane. There was just so much going on because there's so much you don't know, and I think anybody suffers from this when there's things that are you just so out of your control. Like when you get grades, right? Like you go to school, you get grades. Like if you do the work, you should get good grades, right?
Yep.
Simple as that. You do your chores, you get allowance. You do this, you get that. That's normally how it goes. With the draft process, you could do great in college, i.e., the receiver Nash out of San Jose State,
yeah,
right? Leads the nation in every single stat, doesn't get drafted, right? You could do everything right, everything you possibly could, the best of your abilities, and still not get drafted. So that week is just frustrating. So for me, what really comes to mind is just the buildup of it and how I was just so worked up. And then, of course, once I got the call, kind of like that just release and the smiles and it's on the business right after that.
Yeah. So I want to get your opinions on a few players. First off, let's talk about the biggest story out of it. Shedeur Sanders, you watched him. You've called some of these games. You've been around this guy. Right. When you watched him, I mean, he looked all world against Utah earlier this past season, but then struggled against BYU in the bowl game. So did you feel like he was a high-level draft pick after watching him play?
But this is what everybody needs to understand. The draft is so not what everybody thinks it should be. It's never what this makes sense. It should do that. It's never like that, ever. Right? That's why, like, when I was drafted, I was like, why are these guys going ahead of me? I know I'm better than these guys. I've shown better, whatever. But, like, the draft is never what it should be. It's always based off of so many different people's opinion on what they need, what should happen, or public opinion. There's so many factors that goes into it. Shedeur Sanders getting drafted late, man. First of all, he didn't look all world against Utah. Utah was just that bad this year.
Fair enough.
And so honestly, I think that the game Utah played is something that BYU took as far as film and was like, okay, we need to do that against this guy and we'll win. And so I think BYU just did a great job of prepping for that game and getting after Shedeur. But, I think that Utah gave Shedeur so many opportunities that he ended up with the statistics that he had. And so, but we were frustrating him, that's for sure. And that's what I was like on the sidelines in Colorado. I was just like, man, we could do that, but we just got no offense. We got nothing to put pressure on Colorado. So that just sucked. But Shedeur Sanders is a talent. Like, I was impressed. I wasn't really, like, sure of his arm with the Jackson State years. But his first year at Colorado, I was watching film, and I'm just like, this kid can throw the ball. He's got accuracy. He could throw the deep ball. He could do a lot of different things. And so I'm just like, oh, he's got skills. And then another year, he's refined those. He started making checks at the offensive line of scrimmage. But it's development. And I don't think that I didn't give him a first-round grade in my book. I know that really doesn't mean much. But in my book, I saw him as a second-round draft pick. And definitely with all the teams in the league that have had quarterback issues, i.e. Cowboys, Dak Prescott injured for the majority of the last couple seasons, you need a quality backup. The Steelers, you got nobody. Mason Rudolph is nobody on the roster. You don't draft Shedeur. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns, you wait all the way until you get Dylan Gabriel and then take Shedeur with your last pick. What my vex with it is he's a very skilled person. I think he needs development. I don't think he'll be anybody's rookie of the year, but he's somebody that you could invest in for the future as far as his size, his arm capability. And you know what? Mike Tomlin said it on a podcast a couple of years ago on the Ryan Clark podcast. He's like, he loves reading draft grades and people talking about kids like, oh, he doesn't have hands. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. And that's coaching. So what you're saying is you don't want to coach. You want somebody who's already have NFL experience getting drafted. That makes no sense. And so I think that's what a lot of these people who grade people in the drafts, they just negate the fact that, like, look, people still got to develop. He's still a 22-year-old kid. Let him develop under people. And so I don't know, but I do think he's skilled and talented. I don't think he's a fifth-round draft pick. I think he's a little sooner than that, second, third round. But, the draft is – I've said it to JJ over the years. It really doesn't matter where you get drafted. It's all about the situation and if they're going to give you an opportunity for your skills to shine.
Steven Sylvester joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What do you think about the kid who stole the number and did the prank call, though?
Oh, man, I don't know if you know, like, I spent my entire day arguing with people yesterday. I was so livid at that. I'm pissed off because, one, personally, my experience with the draft and how anxious I was for how many years that I put in to get into that point, and for somebody to make joke out of it is one of the most disrespectful things. But aside from that, people do get prank called, right?
Yeah.
That happens all the time. Actually, when the prank call happened, I'm just like, hey, honestly, the Sanders family, they put themselves out there to be susceptible to things like that. And that's what it is. I thought it was just a regular thing. Somebody found his number and did that. When I found out that it was the kid of an organization, I lost my mind. I was just like, Ulbrich should be fired immediately. The Falcons should be fined from the commissioner. I think they should need to be throwing the book at them because it's deeper than this prank call. If a snot-nosed 21 or however old this stupid kid is can get the phone number of a draft pick, who knows what other access of information that he's privy to? Yeah. Everybody right now already is skeptical that the NFL is scripted. Everybody's a boys club. As I said, this whole Shedeur thing, how does 32 teams, people who need quarterbacks, people who need valuable backups, how does the Carolina Panthers not look at Shedeur in the third or fourth round, right, to back up Bryce Young, who you're not sure about? How does Geno Smith not have a valuable back? He'd be great in Las Vegas. He'd be great in Dallas as a backup to Dak Prescott. How do these guys all pass on him? And, like, I'm just looking at their draft, and I'm like, you drafted like even the Browns that took him. He was their last pick of the draft. They drafted 2 running backs before they drafted him. And so I'm just like, there's just so much more going on that I'm just like, I'm bewildered at, and it's just dumb. But for a kid of an organization, a kid of a parent, a kid of a coach, to get that and create some kind of and that was thought out, right? Yeah. Like they knew, like he portrayed the GM for the Saints. He knew exactly that was thought out. I know the Saints need a quarterback. They're probably thinking about this. Let me make sure to call Shedeur as we're going up and doing this. Like there was information that he already knew to make that call. And so for me, I think Ulbrich should be fired for his negligence because it's just like a doctor, right? If a doctor has his kids around and he's a celebrity doctor and these kids are now accessing Kanye West information, accessing Kim Kardashian's information, or check it out. Like, okay, say Johnny Depp's lawyer, right? Their kid gets Amber Heard's number and starts calling Amber Heard, telling her all the stuff that they know about the legal case. Would there not be another lawsuit attached to that?
Oh, yeah. And that lawyer probably gets disbarred, too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
My thing is the NFL, and we're talking about how, these teams trade players, they trade coaches, and how privy this information is. How do we know game to game, week to week, this isn't happening? I.e., 3 years ago now, when Brian Daboll got the head coaching job for New York.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to text him?
Was it Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
But Bill Belichick texts Brian Flores instead.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Right? Like, so what kind of boys club is all of this stuff? Like, and so, like, my thing is like, that's just the tip of the iceberg for me. It's more than the prank call. In my book, and why I was so mad. I was so mad because of me. I was a player who went through the draft experienced the level of angst that Shedeur did. I never had that level, but just to understand that's just nothing to play with. And for a kid of a coach, he should be close enough to know that that's not something to play with.
Yeah. Well, number one, you don't play with that. And number two, if you do, you certainly don't post a video of yourself doing it on social media when you're the son of the DC. That's the biggest moronic thing. This guy may end up costing his dad his job, and in your opinion, he should cost his dad his job, and for being a complete imbecile.
Right. It's just like say you're the son of a cop, right? And you get information from your dad's stuff.
Yep.
Right? Is your dad not going to be held accountable?
Yep.
And so I don't care. Here's my thing. Everybody's like, oh, everybody's got snot-nosed kids. I'm like, if you know your kid is an S-bag, you know not to leave proprietary information around them, especially in a celebrity-filled league. I just think his negligence is a fireable offense because we don't know the level that goes to. We talk about the Giants GM and how stupid he was about the Saquon Barkley free agency a year or two ago,
yep.
right? And how he handled all that and how his kids was talking to him. These kids are involved in these guys' lives. We get that. But the fact that this kid made a joke of somebody's life, I don't take that lightly, and anybody that challenges me on that, I'm willing to have that debate because I think that's one of the most messed up things ever.
I love it. Steven Sylvester right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sly, the man when it comes to all things football, especially Utah football. And look, in this day and age, if you've got a skill set, you don't even have to put up numbers. But if you have a certain skill set, the NFL will find you. Caleb Lohner ends up being a 7th-round pick going to the Broncos because they like his size, they like his ability, and they like his potential. What do you think? You've been in the league. You've guarded big tight ends. You know what it's like. What could Caleb Lohner do at the next level?
Man, Caleb Lohner is Gronk on steroids. I think utilize, as I said, I've said this all the time, it's about the situation he's going into. The situation in Denver is amazing. You got a young quarterback, a new coach who is investing in that quarterback. You got young people around you. You got an exciting franchise that made it to the playoffs last year and is hungry for more and needing a talent. Caleb Lohner caught 4 passes for 4 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Underutilized at Utah. And so for me, if you see this guy run, he probably runs, he's 240, 250, runs about a 4.6. He runs like a deer. Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, all of these basketball converts have made it happen and did it in a great fashion. Caleb Lohner, I know he's tough, right? He blocks. He's very physical. You saw that in his basketball game. You saw that in the touchdowns that he caught. He was boxing guys out. They couldn't do anything. He's 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical. 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical. You know the size of these safeties?
Yeah.
They're 5'11", 6 foot. They don't have a 40-inch vertical. He has an advantage over everybody. I don't know why. Like the Colorado Buffaloes this past year, all of their safeties were 5'10" or lower. Shiloh and the other guy was short as crap. You're telling me we couldn't run Caleb Lohner right down the seam? I don't even need to huddle. Caleb, run right down the seam, right at the goalpost, and I'm going to throw it to you. You just go up and get it. Simple as that in ball game. And we couldn't even do that at Utah. But I know that Sean Payton, if you see that talent, you see that guy run, he has good hands. All he needs to do is work on his route running, which he doesn't even need to do route running. You see how he scored touchdowns. He is a red zone freaking nightmare for everybody. There's nothing you can do about that. That's like you just getting dunked on by LeBron and just being like throwing up your hands like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be Bo Nix has another weapon that is going to be absolutely dangerous. And you know what? The NFL is going to get so much attention to him when he's having success. That's going to open things up on the outside for Sutton and Devon Vele and all of their other weapons. Denver got a steal. Might be the steal of the draft. I think Caleb Lohner is going to be an outstanding NFL talent.
So I am putting you on the spot here a little bit, and I don't anticipate you watched a lot of Boise State football, but is Ashton Jeanty one of those rare guys that you feel like should be worth a high first-round pick at running back?
Man. Oh, yeah, man. You don't even need to watch all his games. You just watch his highlight tapes. So with me, I look at that. Everybody's talking about, he's in the Mountain West. He wasn't in the P4, blah, blah, blah. You look at the talent, and can that translate to the next level? Can that translate to a P4 level? Can that translate to the NFL level? What he does, he has great patience, and he's a great low center of gravity. He's not a tall dude, but you know what? He's compact like Maurice Jones-Drew, and he has a great burst. If you see his burst, as soon as he sees a hole and he gets an opportunity for a hole, he has an amazing burst that first 5 to 8 yards, and that's what's going to get him those extra yards. So imagine if you put a big NFL offensive line in front of him that can create those holes and have a game plan from Chip Kelly that can create those holes. This guy's going to be electric. He's a guy that you can give the ball to 25 to 30 times a game and get you 115 to 140 yards a game. That guy, he's going to have a great NFL career, and it was all about the situation. Las Vegas, not far from Boise State, and you can sit around the fandom with all of that. People can go, and Vegas can market him. That's a terrific pick for the Raiders. And ever since I've said the Raiders have done a lot of dumb things, and I continue to do that all year. But ever since Tom Brady's got there, they've got their head on straight. They got a good GM. They got Chip Kelly over there. They got Pete Carroll, which I like. They're making all the right decisions. They got Geno Smith as a quality guy. He's not a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or nothing, but like he can get it done. And so you're doing all the right things. Look out for the Raiders. I hate to say it, but look out for the Raiders this year.
Keep saying it, Sly. Keep saying it.
Lloyd, turn the mic off.
Lloyd's excited. I know it.
Yeah, no, he's very excited. So this is the thing, and I'm glad you brought this up because doing the Utah State games, I called some of his games when he was running roughshod over the Aggies. And the one thing, and I want to be careful because, this guy's the greatest of all time, but he reminded me of Barry Sanders. And I'm not saying he's going to be Barry Sanders. I'm saying he reminded me, and when you watch that old Barry film, Barry would hit the line and he could stop and start so fast and then hit that next gear after stopping in the line, waiting, and then boom, that burst that you talk about. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's what always jumped out to me. He's small, he's compact, and can shed blockers, but he can hide in that line, see what's developing, and then hit it so fast. And that's what really jumped out to me about him.
Yeah, I can't give the Barry Sanders nod, but his production says otherwise, right? He was right up there with Barry. But like Ashton, man, I don't actually know his comp, right? I said MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew.
I think that's a very good one.
There's a lot of people like Maurice. If people watch Maurice Jones-Drew coming out of UCLA, in his first couple of years of college, there's a lot of semblance from stature to explosion to shedding blocks and tough running. There's a lot of comps there, but I haven't found the exact comp for Ashton Jeanty, but I like him, man. And they drafted a couple old linemen as well. So they're packing in that offensive line. They got the quarterback. They're getting offensive linemen. They got the number one tight end, I believe, will be in the league, Brock Bowers. Man,
yeah.
Sorry, Lloyd. I don't want to get you too happy today, but I just like what the Raiders are doing, man.
Hey, before I let you go, what's your thoughts where the Utes are at coming out of spring, and what are your expectations for this upcoming year?
It's hard to say, kind of, especially with the loss of a couple players, Landon King and Zacharias Williams, and a couple guys that left after spring. It sucks that they're more key players, right? I wish they were more of the bench players that left. But it's guys that you had big plans on in the season. I thought Landon King was another one of those Caleb Lohner talents. He's 6'5", 6'6", 250, and can catch the ball in traffic, putting on weight. He's developing over the years. But, he's had some frustrations, and he locked in a pick at Duke, so he knew something. It's yet to be told. I like Jason Beck, so there's that. And when I talked to him this spring before the spring game, trying to understand, like, his motive is like, look, these are the players that I got, right? I'm not trying to force this other ideology into these players. I'm trying to say, like, these players' skill sets is XYZ, and I'm going to use them as such. I love that, right? Because when you get an injury to a key player, you got somebody else who's fulfilling who doesn't have that same skill set, but they do have a different skill set. How do you highlight that? That is what Jason Beck says that he focuses on, and what is his specialty, and why he finds success is he takes the individual players that are on that roster and puts them into the offense and makes it work. So I'm very excited for that this season. I think our defense is going to be solid as per usual. But again, I was very hyped on the team last year, and we wet the bed. So I'm going to reserve judgment, but I'm still excited at things coming out. I really, really like our quarterback. He's so dynamic and fast that, he can make up for a lot of the issues that he does. Of course, we're trying to get his interceptions down. But I think he makes up for it with his dynamic and playmaking ability with his legs.
Well, no bedwetting on this conversation, man. You killed it. This was fun. We got to do this again sometime.
Hey, you let me know. You got my number.
I love it. Sly, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Steven Sylvester right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Truth bombs right and left, especially about the Shedeur Sanders thing. Hey, and the prank. I thought he nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
He probably should lose his job.
Oh,
you just can't have that.
Nope. Cannot have that. All right. Hey, don't miss Minky Monday coming up on the Zone a week from today, Monday, May 5th, to win a Minky Couture blanket. The original classy blanket, Minky Couture, makes the perfect Mother's Day gift, and Zone listeners get 50% off using the code ZONE50. Don't miss Minky Monday coming up this Monday, a week from today, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, 1:30 coming up next. We'll have a chance to catch up with Patrick Kinahan straight ahead right here on the Zone.